Hello, everyone, and welcome to Stress Free IEP, the show where we help families build their village to raise their neurodivergent children with confidence and support. I'm your host, Frances Shefter, special education attorney, advocate, and fellow parent, walking through this journey with you. Each week, we shine a light on professionals, resources, and real world strategies that can empower you to navigate the IEP process and beyond without stress. Whether you're tuning in live on Facebook or YouTube or listening later on your favorite podcast app, we're so glad you're here. Let's dive in and meet today's amazing guest. So, Andrea Levy is another special needs parent with us and an advocate in Montgomery County. She has 3 children with special needs. Her 2 daughters have ADHD and anxiety, and her son has cerebral palsy, autism, ADHD, and a few other diagnoses. She has been working in schools as a volunteer or teacher for over 20 years and has been teaching online now for 10 years. She has worked specifically with special needs organizations for around 15 years and sits on the boards of 2 organizations that help families with special needs children. She is a full-time caregiver to her son, teaches online, and is working on her master's degree. I don't know how she has all the extra time for that, but you know, us special needs parents, we all figure out a way to make it work, right? One of the things that's great and why I'm having her on the show is that she encourages and insists family in getting out of the house and finding activities that meet their children's special needs. And so most of the activities that that we're going to talk about today actually are nonprofit organizations and are either free activities or have scholarship programs when needed. So that's what I'm really excited about because, as you all know, both my kids are neurodiverse and we're always looking for things. So, Andrea, welcome to the show.
Hello, how are you today?
I am doing well. Thank you. In this last week before school starts for those of us in Maryland, right?
Yes. Final rush.
Yep, the final summer rush with not summer weather. I was hoping to spend some time at the pool this
Yeah.
week, but yeah, it's not been pool weather. Um,
No, but at
so
least it's not 800 degrees anymore. So
yes,
this
that
week
is
will be
true
nice
too.
to relax a
That
little
is true
bit.
too. A little combination is work.
Yes.
So let's jump in and like talk about some of the programs that you know about that can help our families with their kids. Because as we all know, finding things to do with our special needs kids can be very challenging.
It can be challenging, but I find that the biggest challenge is in ourselves. With our insecurities, people look at us, people look at our kids, people ask questions, or they don't ask questions, they stare or they run away. There's so many things that we have to go through as special needs parents, depending on the diagnosis of your child and how obvious or visible it is. It leaves a whole nother section of layers to the obstacles of getting out of the house. My view is if you don't get out of the house, you're going to go a little bit stir crazy inside.
Right.
But it's good for us and it's good for our children to be socialized. You know,
Right.
any animal of any sort that you lock in the house for too long starts to get a little bit crazy. Um, so we want to get out. We want to introduce people to our students and our children, and we want to introduce them to the world. And we want them to have as many opportunities as any other child on the planet. So one of the things that I do absolutely advocate for is get out. The more you do it, the thicker your skin will be and the more comfortable you'll be doing it.
Yeah.
In today's world, there are so many programs going on, and I know of this many compared to what's really out there. Everybody I talk to gives me more programs to look at, and everybody I talk to has different programs that they know about or things that they've never heard of that I give them. And that's one of the best things about our community of special needs families is that we have to talk to each other and communicate with each other. And the more we do, the more we know. So to get into some of the great programs, there are 2 programs that I know are that I want to start out with right off the top. One of them is called Miracle League Baseball, and their mission is that anybody can play baseball. Anybody. This is
Awesome.
America. It's America's sport. We should be playing baseball. And this is not just for boys. It's not just for girls. It's mixed teams, mixed diversities, mixed neurodiversities, mixed physical diversities. So we have people that are in wheelchairs. We've had people that had trachs. We've had people that were fully ambulatory, running around. We've had people that elope, people that can't stay in one place and have to run around. And what we do is and this is a group that I've been working with now for 13, almost 14 years now. And so I say we because I'm very involved in this group and have been for many, many years. But this particular group is open to any diversity, any child with any kind of diagnosis, and any child's siblings, because siblings are also welcome. And that makes a big difference, especially with those of us that have multiple children, or maybe have multiple little children, where it's gets a little bit crazier in our daily lives. Miracle League Baseball, and I'll put up the registration link for you. It'll be in the listing that I have. They are registering right now for fall. They do both a fall session and a spring session. They do games on Saturdays and on Sundays. So it's one game on Saturday, one game on Sunday. You will be with mixed ages. You will be with mixed diversities. You will be with mixed neurospiciness, and everybody is welcome. Some great things about this particular organization is that the field was built with the Nationals as one of our sponsors, and they have continued to help us through their Dig In program. And we're also the other half of the scene is the Kiwanis Club. So the Kiwanis Club and the Nationals and some other smaller groups have gotten together. This is an incredible field. It is what I like to say, that kind of 1980s plus 1990s foamy, like the aerobics class. If you remember that, that's what it reminds me of. It's not super springy. It is foam-ish, but what it is very, very flat. So you can bring your crutches, you can bring your wheelchairs, you can bring your walker. You can make this be a time that your child gets in there gait trainer or walker and takes that therapy time of being upright. Because I know a lot of our kids do not like to do that when they're in wheelchairs. My son is in a wheelchair, and he has played in his wheelchair. He's played in his gait trainer. He has played for many, many years now. So we have everything. The field itself is the diamond and a little bit of outfield. So it's not super huge. It's not a giant stadium. It is in the Germantown soccerplex area. So it is not, depending on where you are, we drive about 35 minutes to get there from where we live right now. But it is in the Germantown soccerplex area. It's right on the main circle. And so it's very easy to get to if you know that area, or you just look it up. And when you're going around the circle, there's a blue playground. I would say there's that blue playground right on the very the first circle that you get to there in the soccerplex. And you just pull in like you're going to park at that blue playground, and you'll see the field. It has big signage saying Kiwanis, Nationals, Miracle League Baseball. So it's very easy to find once you're there. Everybody is welcome. The field itself is gated. So there are bleachers, and the bleachers for parents and caregivers is canopied. So we don't get direct sunlight on us. So we do have bleachers. We do have canopied bleachers. So so we can relax.
But you have to register, right?
You do have to register, but if you haven't registered and you just want to come out and see it, you are more than welcome to stop by. That's how we got into it. My son was very, very young at the time, and we met somebody who said, you know what, come out and just see what it's about. And he was on the field about 10 minutes later, if that, when we showed up, and he's been playing ever since. We do have pitch. We do like coach pitch. We also have tees, and we have adaptive tees. So it's really up to adaptive bats that can work with anybody. We also have buddies. It's a buddy program. And our buddies aren't just necessarily strangers off the street, like you do have in some groups of volunteers. These are volunteers that are coming from the baseball world for the most part. Softball teams, baseball teams, little league teams, high school teams, and middle school teams that usually will come out and they will help us, and your child will be with a buddy. You will not be on the field because we do not want parents. I mean, if a
No.
parent feels they absolutely need to, or there's something going on, if you're short on volunteers one day, you might be asked to help out. But for the most part, we want the parents to step back, sit in the bleacher,
Let the kids.
have your support group with your fellow parents, because that's pretty much what our parents do on the sidelines.
Yeah,
We
right.
talk about, did you hear that? Have you had this diagnosis?
Right.
What's going on with this? Has anyone ever heard of this? And we say, and we talk, and we make lifelong friendships with other parents and other families that are going through, sometimes very, very similar things to what we are. And
Yeah.
in such an isolating community, it's great.
And I was say, I love that it's giving the parents a break also. So like over the weekend, we went to Montgomery County. I don't know if you know, Montgomery County Rec Therapeutic is
Yes.
now doing like a monthly event. And so my kids and I went to an event at the pool, but I mean, my kids are independent, so it's fine. Like they can go swim by themselves, but like all the other parents are like with their kids in the pool. So they don't get that interaction as much as
Right.
when you have an organization that like literally takes the kids and you can just sit back.
Right. And you know that they're safe. If
Yeah.
nothing else, they're in the gated area. And that's something that people sometimes laugh at me because I've been guarding those gates for years. That I very much close the gate, because we have had students that were elopers. We have had, I say students and children all the time, but we have had players that did try, were tended to be elopers, or just some of our kids can't sit still, can't stand still and concentrate for that long a period. And so they'll run crossways, and we always have people watching. You may have a player on the field who is not standing still, and you will see that poor buddy chasing after them the entire game.
Right.
But you know what? The buddy got some exercise. Everybody smiles by the end. And that's why we have it gated. So they're not, bolting out into the street. In some programs, you're constantly, especially the parents are constantly like, oh my God, but my kid doesn't stand still. It's okay. But my kid, it's okay. But
Yeah.
it's okay. Just come out, because they're not going to learn any kind of social norms if you don't get them out in society.
Right.
And that's a big issue. How is my kid going to learn to regulate themselves? Or how is my kid going to learn how to play this bass or be over there? They're not going to learn if you don't try. And so,
Right.
years ago, there
And
was
what's the age range?
The age range is about 5, 6, usually at our lower end. And we go up to, I know we have a couple of players that are in their early 20s. But as far as cognitively goes, they're kind of all over the place. And we keep an eye on that. We do train our buddies to make sure that if we do have an older player, or if we know that this particular they're going to hit the ball, that we
Right.
do make sure that they are aware and that they are covering their player, literally standing in front of
Got
their
it.
player if they need to try to keep the safety as our absolute max priority. Safety
Perfect.
and
That
fun.
makes sense.
Those are our
Yeah,
two
no, that's
priorities.
great. That sounds
Yeah,
awesome. And so, I mentioned the Montgomery County Rec Center. What other,
absolutely.
do you know of, like, what are some other organizations that you know about
Absolutely.
that might
And
have events?
fairly often people have heard of Montgomery County Recreation Therapeutic Center and their program, and they do have their own pamphlet. They have their own catalog that you can look through, but also Montgomery Parks. And people sometimes forget that they exist. They are a different entity from Montgomery County Recreation. For some reason, Parks and Recreation are two different entities. They do run separate programs. You can go to their websites. They have lots of activities listed, and they'll do, over the summer, I know they did some boating activities. They did some fishing activities. Most of these programs will do fall activities. from nature walks up to, Halloween parties and things like that. So it really depends on what you're looking for. Another program, those are the county-based programs. Excuse me, but there are a lot of private-based programs and a lot of nonprofit programs that are out there, that are there to help our children, our students in some way, shape, or form. One story that is near and dear to my heart is something called ODS. Okay, Open Door Sports. Open Door Sports is an amazing organization where they do after-school programs, and they do them at the
Oh,
schools. So you should check with your school to see if you have an ODS program at
wow.
your school. And if you don't, then please contact them and let them know you'd like one at your school. Sarah, who is the owner and developer of this program, has a student who there was nothing for her at her school. She didn't feel like there was anything that she could do while everybody else was going to after school programs. And so she made up her own. And they are sports oriented programs. These are also sports oriented. And during the fall and spring, she does soccer, basketball over the winter, things that we can do outside, things that we can do inside. She runs programs that are not based at schools, or rather not based during school time. A couple of programs on weekends, bocce. I think there's another soccer program over the weekend. She ran a yoga program. So it's, once again, getting our kids up, getting them physical, getting them moving type of programs, because a lot of our students are not invited to do those types of things
Right.
necessarily in their everyday world.
Or they
So
don't like, because I know with after school, if they don't have any supports, and most of the after school programmers don't understand, and I mean, I don't blame them, but like, they
right,
don't understand it, they don't know how to handle and interact, and so it can always be a little challenging.
right.
Um,
And that's one of the things that she does with her programs, is that she has middle school and high school buddies as well
oh,
with
awesome. So
at her
yeah,
programs. So they come from the high school, they over to the grade schools, and they will help to run the program. She has coaches
yeah,
in charge, and then she will have these assistants and buddies that will help out. And once again, every student has a buddy, so that nobody is left
right.
out, nobody is feeling over in the corner, nobody is feeling like they're being stared at or such, because you're all working, you're all doing the same. And
Yeah,
the coaches are very adaptive. They understand that these are adaptive, maybe these are students that might need adaptations to be able to hit the basket, to be able to get to the
right.
goal. As I said, my son's in a wheelchair. He has been in these programs for on and off for several years. Over the summer, she does a whole series of camps as well. So ODS, Open Door Sports, does a whole series of camps throughout most of the summer. And she runs those like an after school program, though. So parents can get home from work and then take their kids over if they need to, or a caregiver can take the children over. And she runs programs for elementary school all the way up through young adults. I want to say in early 20s. I'm not sure how old the oldest students are, because she does run young adult programs as well.
Got it. And they're drop-off events, her stuff.
Yeah, you can drop off, and you can pick up. You can drop off and sit in your car and read a book or drink your cup of coffee or whatever you'd like. There's always a few parents that hang out, just because, our separation anxiety from our special needs kids
But
is
we're so,
real.
we're so used to having to be there 24/7 with them that, like, I don't, if I
Absolutely.
leave, what's going to happen?
Right. And that's fine. That's fine. There's a couple of
Yeah.
chairs in the corner if you want to sit in the corner and watch. But really, our kids do, I have never had a complaint about anything from Open Door Sports. They run their programs very cleanly, very, very cleanly. So it's always to have that support. And it's nice that it is run by a family that has a
Mhm.
special needs daughter. So
Because we get it.
they get it. When
Yeah.
you get it, you
Not
get
that
it.
it
When you
needs to
don't,
be,
you
but
don't.
like, yeah, it's definitely different when you're a parent with, in
Right.
understanding the the neuroses, just like, us joking around, like, what do you mean we don't have to stay?
Yeah,
Like, I've
absolutely.
never not had to
Absolutely.
stay. Like,
Absolutely. And
um,
she works out of
yeah.
some of the different schools in the area. When we first started with her, she had, I want to say maybe three, four schools. Now she's up over 20 schools. So she's always looking to expand the program, as long as she can keep it clean and safe and all of that. So
Right.
absolutely, if there is not a program at your school, you might be able to get to one of her weekend programs. And if you're worried about it, or you want a program at your school, that anybody listening who's a teacher or a parent says, why don't we have this at our school?
Right.
Hop on their website, contact them, let them know that you're interested in getting this kind of program at your school, um, because it's really an amazing program. And I've seen
Yeah, it
such
sounds great.
growth in some of the students that I've seen do these programs,
I'm
and it's
sure,
truly
because
amazing.
it's a socialization part. Like, you can learn
Yeah,
everything, but if you're not in the group, I'm just remembering
right.
at this weekend, well, he was a young adult, definitely, with his dad, but he, like, went by and he, like, patted me, and the dad was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "You don't need to say sorry here. We're all good." But we're so used to, as a parent, apologizing for our kids' behavior. But, like, when you're at something like this, that we all get it. We never have to.
Yeah,
Although we always
no,
do, because we're just
right, because
reactive.
we're used to it.
Right, but it's, like, nice to know, like, I don't have to explain why my daughter does XYZ and is
Right.
quirky. Like, we
You can
just
stime in
look
the
at each
corner
other
for
and
the
be like,
next 20 minutes and you have fun, but you know
"No."
that you're going to be upset. The student probably might be a little bit upset because they were having trouble that day, and that's why they're stymie. But at the same time, you've got parents around you, and you've got coaches or such around you that are going to support both your child and you
Right.
in most of these programs. So it's enlightening,
Yeah.
and it's just an incredible feeling to know that your child is safe and your child is in a safe place. Not just safe as in safety, but they're a
Right.
safe place where they're not going to be made fun of. They're not going to have,
Yeah.
whatever. The other great thing is if you have a middle school student or a high school student, get them out to some of these programs because these are great SSL hours
Yeah,
and
well, that's
they're
what I was
great.
thinking. I was thinking, even though my kids are
Yeah,
neurodiverse, they're on the higher functioning end, and
right.
we're right now. My daughter's helping, with Autism Speaks, plan the Empower Walk, and that's going to be in Baltimore in April. And so she's loving it because she's on the spectrum, and so she wants to help. As she
Right.
says, like, people like me.
Yeah,
So yeah, no, it's definitely an area of SSL hours that people need to know about as well, because I think it's true giving back and learning acceptance of others.
yes.
Like,
And
what's a
learning
big
others.
thing to
Yes.
me is that we all think differently, our brains work differently, and we interact differently, but we're all special in our own ways and worthy of, the attention and not being teased, type situation.
Absolutely. One of the things, like I said, my son's in a wheelchair, and so he can't always kick the ball properly, or he can't always because he can't get to it. He
Right.
can't very easily, or he can't reach the basket with the basketball very well. And one of the things that I find very interesting and intriguing when I watch some of these interactions is seeing how the buddies learn to think about adapt. How can we adapt this so he can do it?
Ah,
So it's empowering for the
mhm.
player, but it's also empowering for the buddies because they start thinking outside the box. Well, he can't.
Right.
How can I do this? Can I do this? Can you do? And they start asking questions. And when you start asking questions,
And
you start learning.
and I would say that the kids probably think of things that us adults don't think about. You know what
Yes,
I mean? Like, they'll come up with
absolutely,
something, you're like, "Whoa, wait, why did we not think about that?" Because they're just
absolutely.
there, right?
Yep. And you just never
Yeah.
know what's going to happen, but in a good way, not in a bad
Right,
way.
right.
Because we're used to that in the bad way. But this is it.
Or yeah, or experimenting. "Hey, we tried that, it didn't work. Let's try something else," and that's okay
Absolutely.
too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so it can be quite fun to just see how these things work for the students, for the players, the children, as well as for those that are helping them.
Right.
So some other groups that are out there, those are, as I said, those are a couple of big ones that I know are registering right now. ODS, Open Door Sports, is registering for their fall sessions right now for both elementary, school age and young adult. And there is an overlap there. They start young adult around 16 years old. Because some students, might do better with a younger group. Some students might do better with
Right.
an older group, and that's okay. So they do have that kind of uh, overlap for some of our students. Other programs that are working right now, Downtown Sailing Center. And I've
Okay.
worked with every group that I have on my list. I have either personally worked for or one of my good friends has worked with. Like either I've worked with
Yeah.
them with my son,
Right.
or one of my good friends has worked with and given me the information. So Downtown Sailing Center, my son has been sailing in the Baltimore Harbor on and off with COVID since he was 5.
Wow.
So, sailing, some of these sports and things, we think, oh, it's expensive. Oh, I don't know that we could do that. I don't know if he could stay still on a boat. We have so much going on in our head sometimes,
Yeah.
naysaying what's going on. Downtown Sailing Center literally sails in Baltimore Harbor. They will get anybody onto a boat. If they have to
Wow.
sit there and talk to them for 20 minutes before they can finagle them onto the boat, then that happens. If they
Yeah.
need to Hoyer lift onto the boat, they actually have the capability of setting up. Uh, they have 2 Hoyer lifts that are always set up. One that is mainly used for humans, the other one they use for certain boat parts, but they can also for running boats out. But they can also adapt that to
If needed.
put our people on it as well. But they literally have 3 setups that they can set up if it's a busy day. Um, they have 3 or 4 different kinds of boats. They do outreach programs. They do programs with groups like Autism Speaks. They do groups with high schools. They do groups with they do outreach programs in Baltimore to bring anybody of any ability onto a boat. And
That's
they
awesome.
have volunteers set up. So, like, if you've never sailed before, well, I don't know how to sail a boat.
Yeah.
You're going to go out with a crew that knows how to sail the boat.
It's so funny that you say that because I wouldn't have thought of it here. When I lived in Miami and I was a teacher in Miami, there was one, I think I want to say my uncle volunteered with it also because he was an avid sailor. So that's where I got my love of sailing. But yeah, that they had that kind of program, but it was in Miami. So, Miami, of course you're going to have boating stuff. Didn't even think that they would have it up here, but that makes sense in the Baltimore Harbor. Why not? Right?
There's
It's really
another
for
group,
everything.
they are not on my list, and I keep meaning to put them on my list. I have not personally worked with them, but I know many groups that work with them, like groups that I work with, that they also work with them. And that's called CRAB, CRAB. So
Okay.
you might be able to look that up online. They are out of, I believe they're out of Annapolis.
Okay.
They're either out of DC Harbor or Annapolis. I think they're out of Annapolis, but they also run similar programs. Um, Downtown Sailing Center is just the one that I happen to run into, and they're the one that we've been sailing with for many years. So there are programs out there. Once again, you just got to find them,
You got to
and that's
find
always
them,
the hardest
right?
part.
Well, and that's such one of the main reasons for the show totally, like, yes, it's called Stress Free IEP. Yes, I'm an education attorney, but it's all about building our villages and finding what's out there. And I mean, you nailed it on the head. We all say it all the time. Like, where do we learn the most? Is from our other mom friends and dad friends and guardian friends, and that's the whole point is like, let's get out there and tell like, oh, have you tried this yet? Have you seen this event? And share it with everybody because, you know,
Absolutely.
yeah, we
Yeah,
need
you
our
just never
village.
know.
Right.
Well, one of the great things about Downtown Sailing Center is if you have an older student, older child, young adult, they also have a racing team.
Oh,
And
fun.
they do a big regatta in the Baltimore Harbor every year. This year, I believe it's on September 20th. It's usually that, like, right near the end of September. And the adaptive racing team races.
Oh,
And
that's
anyone
awesome.
else who is part of their accessibility sailing is welcome to come out and help out or get on a boat and race with and race. And we've done it. They have special. They're 1 to 2 person boats. That, they can fit up to 2 people in them. They're called Hansa dinghies. They're like a smaller size
Mm.
boat. Um, and my son has learned to sail it by himself. They've taught me how to sail it by myself.
Wow.
But there's also other boats where you have a 4 or 5 people on the boat. 2 of those people are going to be sailors. They're going to know what they're doing, and they're going to get
Okay.
the rest of your family onto one of these boats. I think some of the bigger boats we can put 5 or 6 people on, and we get people onto the boats, whether you sit on the dock and shimmy into your boat, whether you need a Hoyer lift, whether you're stepping down. Um, and I have known students that were elopers, that were um, affectionately called bolters. They can't stand
Yeah.
still. They're constantly running or moving around,
Hmm.
and the water is calming. I don't
Yeah.
know what it is about the water, but it's calming for everybody.
Yeah. It
And
is. It's,
yep,
yeah.
you have to have
I
your
can
life
see that.
jacket on. Once again, safety first, but it's an incredible group. They do an accessible sailing about every other weekend from May through um, about October, uh,
It's good to know.
and it's completely free. It's, yeah, completely free.
Wow. That's
So,
awesome.
open door sports that we were talking about is also completely free for their after
Okay.
school programs, which is, I know, crazy in an after school program setting, just a
I
joke.
know, right? We spend a fortune.
Miracle League, we talked about, does have, and some of the parks or recreation programs do have fees associated with some of their stuff, but they all have scholarship type programs as well. So if there's
Got
any
it.
kind of issue with paying any of the fees, I know Parks has scholarship programs, Rec has scholarship programs, Miracle League, you just send them a quick email saying, it's a little tight for this fee, and they're like, okay, bye. Like
Right.
fee disappears.
Yes,
So
right. Not you. Not
not
by
you, the
you. By
fee.
the right. Yeah.
So they're very good
Oh,
about wanting to get everybody out there. Um,
right.
some other
And I know,
programs that
yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I was watching the time because I know we talk forever, but I know
I
we're
know.
also going to. I think we're going to put the links in the show notes,
Absolutely.
so that we have everything. And then I'm going to encourage listeners to please comment and add your own if it's not on there. I'm going to go through and
Please.
make sure that all of the ones I know are on there. Because it's, like this, I hope this will become like a resource of people sharing, like, hey, listen to this podcast, read the notes. Here's all of the here's some
Absolutely.
ideas of things you can do. A true building your village.
Absolutely. And I
Uh,
know that there are many groups that are like we talked about, groups that are doing things right now. MedStar Health also has a group that's doing things right now. Kids in Action is doing things now through fall, through year-round type of things. Um, I just wanted to give a couple of notes for as we're getting into fall, heading towards holiday type time and snow type time, that a kid again, a
mhm.
kid again is a great program that does things year round, but they do 2 big events each year where they will take you, your family, your children, it feels like the whole world, to King's Dominion.
Oh, wow.
And they do the Winterfest event, and they do a summer event. So they will literally take you, sign up your children. You can bring up to 2 caregivers. That's as well as your family. So you sign up, you
Right.
tell them all the different people in your family, you tell them, whether you're bringing a caregiver or 2, and they pay for the parking. They pay for the park tickets. They pay for food while you're at the park.
Wow.
They pay for everything. Uh, the Winterfest program we went to, they paid for everybody to do cookie decorating and
Oh,
ice
fun.
skating. So these are all
Mhm.
usually additional charges when you get to the park. They do it. It's a huge, huge thing. And it's, going to a baseball game, a baseball event where maybe there's 20 or 30 other families, that's amazing. Going to
Yeah.
an amusement park where there's 600 plus other families,
Wow.
that's
I can just
absolutely
imagine,
insane.
right?
It We took over the
Yeah.
park pretty much, and people are like, I saw a child start to go into a seizure, and like three other families came up, like, "What can we do? Do you need me to hold this? Are you
Right,
good? Do
let
you
me
have
grab the other
emergency
kids,
meds? What
right?
do you need?"
Yeah. Rather than
Because it
people
was,
staring like, "Whoa," right?
"What's that?" "Oh, have you
Yeah,
tried this ride? It's a good ride for, I see that you might have this issue, check out that ride. I know my kid liked it. He also is like
right.
that," whatever.
Yeah.
So there's also skiing and snow sports, which,
Wow.
we're in Maryland. We don't see a whole lot of snow, but Blue Ridge Adaptive Snow Sports does adaptive skiing, and they do, I believe they do tubing, and things to that effect. But they should be starting to register in the next month or two, I would think, to do that. Uh, there's a lot of different things going on right now. And unfortunately, not everybody always knows, as we said, what's happening. Um,
Right.
Another big one is So Kids Soar. So it's
Okay.
So Kids Soar, SOAR. And that's another adaptive program. They do programs all year round. And they, just to note, run a prom every year
Oh,
for
fun.
adaptive students. So that's something
Yeah.
that we've done the last couple of years with my son, and he thought it was a great time. They have a DJ, people dress up, there's photo booth areas, there's giveaways. It's a lot of fun. And these are things that
Awesome.
are secular, so they're very diverse. All diversity is welcome. All diversity of diagnosis is welcome. All diversity of humans is welcome to all of these events. And I do want to just point
That's
that out
awesome.
because, there are church groups that do this or temple groups that do that and things like that. And that's great. But sometimes it's nice to know that there are groups that just everybody is welcome as well.
Right. Right. So thank you so much,
Sure.
Andrea. This has been so awesome. And I'm like so excited to like get out and find some of these places and get my children signed up. Um,
Sure.
and I see we just had a comment actually about the name of the organization that sponsors the amusement park trips. Which one was
It's
that we were just
called
talking about?
A Kid Again. So the letter A, Kid Again. And they do the amusement park twice a year. They also do nationals tickets. And you want to make sure when you go on their site that you're on our chapter. So you just want to make sure that, because they are a national organization, like Miracle League is a national organization as well. Um, some things are more condensed to us here. Healing
Right.
Surfers is also a national organization. So you want to make sure that you're on the page that you're looking up to make sure that you're on the right page. But that's with any
Right.
national organization. Just make sure you're looking at us, unless you'd like to go
Right.
to a Boston game or something. I don't know.
You never know. If you're on vacation, look for something out
you
there,
you
right?
might ask.
Yeah.
They might let you go. That's fine.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being on the show and sharing all of your wisdom with us.
Oh, please. Please add things. If you know of other organizations, please let us know. I do try to contact and try to talk to these organizations before I put them on my list, but I do try to contact as many organizations as I can get a hold of, um, because there's a lot out there. We just don't know about it.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
but most
Thank
importantly,
you.
get out. Take your
Yep.
kids out,
Thank
see
you.
what
And thank
happens.
you all for joining us on this episode of Stress Free IEP. We hope today's conversation gave you new tools, insights, or just a little more peace of mind as you support your neurodivergent child. Don't forget. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you found this episode helpful, which I really hope you do, because there's lots of great information, please share it with someone in your village. You can always learn more and connect with me at shefterlaw.com or follow along on social media. Until next time, remember, you do not have to do it all alone.